When creating games, you probably want a lot of flexibility to define what happens when something is done by the player. And there is a really cool block that gives you a lot of flexibility, and the block is called answer is block. And I will be explaining what the block does and how does it work. However, to give you a little bit of background, I will compare it also with the block that is called finished and block that is called answer is correct or incorrect. I have created a game. I have added 3 tasks here, and just let's look at the is finished block first. So the is finished block basically becomes true when the task is finished. So when you are done with the task. Usually with this approach, you don't need to define any alternative outcomes. Now the second option is that you use the block called answer is correct. And the same applies. Let's say we'll add it here that when answer to the first task is correct, do something. And now what follows is this, that in some cases, you actually need to also define what happens when the task is answered incorrectly. Now the third option, and this is the newest option, is that you can define what the answer is. And the same thing applies. Let's say if I define the answer for the task 1 is, and now please pay attention, the task 1 is multiple choice answers. So we have defined Africa, Asia, America, and Australia as answers here. And that means that I can define one of those answers here as well. So let's say I will define Africa. And that means that if the player answers Africa to the task, whatever follows is then executed. Now, you can probably see already that probably you need to define the outcome for all of 4 of those answers. So in this case, we would already need 4 blocks. So that means that we want to define it for Asia, America, and Australia as well. So and now we can define outcome for each, and it's fully defined. Okay? Now, this is actually a very simple switch because there is another option that you can set within this task. So basically when you choose the last answer, it always refers to what was answered to this task last. So if the task 1 is always visible and the player can return to it during the game, then what they can do is basically then maybe they go in and answer Africa, and everything that is connected to the Africa will launch. And then they come back to that and answer Asia. That means that everything that is under Africa is now untrue, but everything under Asia is true and is executed. So you can build that kind of switch if they want to choose different routes. And the other option is that also you can say that if any answer is. So if for this task the answer has been Africa, then this will stay true until the end of the game basically. And if the last answer is Asia, then that might be true as well. So there can be, in this case, there can be 2 things that are true at the same time. Now, let me get rid of this. And let's look at other task types as well. As I said, this answer is actually works with some other task types as well. And it works with the text answer. And now please pay attention that the task number 2 is actually a text answer task. And the correct answer is defined as send. However, here I don't need to define the correct answer. I can define another answer, maybe a secret answer that launches something in a game. And this is the same way. I can use the last, or I can also use any. So it will allow you to build kind of switchboard if you want to, where the code needs to be typed in by hand. Now you have unlimited amount of options. If it's a free text answer, then the answer can be whatever. So you really need to think what happens if the expected answer is not given. And you probably cannot just list all the expected answers. You need to have some kind of structure behind it that actually covers all other use cases. And the same thing applies to the task with the number answer. and here we have number 3 is number answer, and you can see that the correct answer is defined as 12, but here you don't need to have 12. You can have something else, and it will launch whatever happens after that. So the block is not connected with the answer being correct or incorrect. It's just being connected what the answer can be.